So, hello people. We are going to talk about something uh, useful, a little bit superficial, but very useful, and it's related to my philosophy for composers course, philosophy of music. And this is about the relationship to books. It's a kind of cautionary discourse here. Um, Many people, they not many, but an important amount of people who are interested in not sucking, so at least they in one time of their life the flame of knowledge knocked in their heads, the flame of curiosity, better said, and they start to read. And then I noticed that there are types of readers. So of course, so I studied philosophy. I observed the most interesting and different types of readers. The most interesting type that is relevant here for the reflection that I want to bring is the fast reader. And this is a very interesting thing that is it is happening now. So suddenly, so we are a society of extremes, no? So we swim in the shit of stupidity and ignorance in one hand, but in other hand, then suddenly you have the guy who read the complete works of Shakespeare in for I don't know 4 weeks. Okay, so it's a complicated situation, and then he he needs to do a YouTube channel to guide people through the reading, okay, of Shakespeare. And and then you start to ask yourself, so now I have not only to read the Shakespeare but to follow his channel to understand what I'm reading from Shakespeare. But still you are speaking about a kind of intellectual life, and this conflicts with the core idea of the intellectual life, and this is the autonomy of your curiosity. So so in my point of view, the curiosity should guide your your decisions. And when you are in the context of a course, then it is useful to have a kind of mandatory reading and the core canonic suggested text. This is the function that the teacher has. So to let's say to summarize and to condense things. So instead of having to find the best page of Hegel for the question that we are dealing with, I can already show which is one of the most important pages to read. The same with Kant or with Plato. So this is the task of the teacher, and it goes along in the context of a course. However, I have the feeling that people go from one extreme to other. So they come from the extreme of a full not knowing nothing to please guide me through everything. Okay, please please tell me which is the first sonnet of Shakespeare should read, and the second and the third. So it's like zero spontaneity, and this conflict, uh, this has an important conflict with the core idea of all these things, that is simply to develop your talent, to fulfill your purpose, and to follow your curiosity, okay, and to systematize your curiosity. So what actually a course with a professional should do is to give system to your own investigation, actually. So this is what you you are going to do with me. So if you don't know, I am not just I am not only going to show informations. The most interesting part is how we develop an investigation together, and there are many levels of this investigation. And even as a beginner, let's say, as an aspiring new participant, you also have your type of contribution. So this is the whole magic of the seminar structure. So this is the very core of the academic structure before universities got corrupt. Now, the lack of spontaneity is a problem. So our extremes, they are a problem. Now, talking about extremes, there is also the problem of reading fast. So a very interesting type of reader that I met in my studies of philosophy is the fast reader. So they came from the law studies. This explains perhaps why they read fast, but I noticed a toxic type of fast reading. I was still trying to understand the substance of Aristotle and the pre-Socratics, and I was like awed. I was like amazed. I was writing poems like Heraclit or something like this. I was like in a kind of pre-Socratic paradise. I had dune behind my home, and I was in the dune. Okay, so I had this mindset that I am dealing with something bigger than what we might imagine, and for this reason I should go with care and slowly. So I was reading the fragments, trying to understand this Parmenides madness, and then reading the Nietzsche commentary, and this was enough already for I had my thoughts and I started writing. So everything went slowly, and then I write a text that the teacher said, imponent language but no content. He wrote on the page of my first redaction, my first text in philosophy, history of philosophy. We had to write one text every week. So if you have pain to write one work in the whole semester, now consider that we had to write every week. But everything slowly, so I couldn't take so much disciplines because of this reason. And I was amazed by people who then suddenly, okay, he read, okay, the many things of Plato, the Aristotle, and he's already in the Plotin. So Plotin had this idea about the unity that is very important in aesthetics. So this is the connection between the Platonic worldview and the Christian Catholic. And I was considering reading the Plotin still, because every book that I opened, it just changed my. It was like a big game changer. It affected me a lot. And then I found always interesting how some other people, especially this example of the law studies, this colleague, he could just go through it. Okay, also a very young guy, younger than me. And then what happened is I start to think, so what's the point? This was my first impressions. Later, even at master study in philosophy, I observe a similar type of thing, then not only in students, in teachers and people in congress. but since I was way more experienced in philosophy, I started to see the true problem uh, here, and this is the total lack, the inability of really reading a text like a lawyer. Here we come back to the law thing, like a jurist. Uh, and the perspective of a jurist is to really verify and doubt everything. So, for example, I don't know the if the David Hume say that there is no causation, only association, then you should ask, really? Why? Okay. So this is the mindset, but this is a second level of reading. The first level of reading would be that you assume that the author is right. Okay, I don't want to give a course about reading here, but I want to point out this event of people who suddenly read very fast. So they don't know nothing. They are like 25 years old. They don't know nothing. Then suddenly they see that life is empty, suck, and they go also in a fast food mode in the world of knowledge. And because they are intelligent, so they have cognitive intelligence, they have cognitive skills, they go in a very fast way. But this gives a wrong impression about what is actually intellectual life for the people that, in my opinion, are more talented. Because the ugly truth is that this whole thing is not about reading. Sorry. So if you want to be in the fetish of reading, the fetish of philosophy, of music, like buying books and its whole fetish thing, this is not the point. Okay. And also the same with philosophy, but also the same with music theory books. Okay. It is not the point. So there is a kind of standard there, and the standard is always the problem, the philosophic problem, the music theoretical problem, the compositional problem. If you have a strong and direct mindset about understanding problems and formulating problems, then you start to see the books and the whole beauty of this so-called intellectual life as a tool. Okay, and you also start to fall in this wrong oppositions between reading PDF versus reading a physical book, or versus using AI to ask for something. You should go beyond those things and observe that if you read fast and you consume information and content fast, and this does not affect you in the sense of trying to produce something and to react in a constructive manner, so principally in the terms of the artistic creation, that is a goal, then there is no point. Okay, so with some few exceptions, because some books is it's like it's hard if you don't even if you don't know what it's about. So for example, the Harmonie Lehre of Schoenberg, I won't say you should do all the exercise. I will explain this in another video why. But read the start and read the middle. Give a look at the middle and read the end at least. Okay. Now these things for me they are very hard because everything has a timing, and the timing is more important than you think. So one thing is that you just go like a lion through the Harmonie Lehre of Schoenberg. The other thing is that you actually do the whole process, as I did, and I did this before the music theory study at Mozarteum. So you do the whole process, and then you go in the final chapter, then you start to understand where he wants to go. But it's a lot of time. Okay, so the Schoenberg is another is a problem. So I covered this problem with a student of mine. So it's a problem. It's a problem. But I want to say here that some books, yes, it's a kind of must read. Okay, and 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 they are not actually so many. This is the point. Okay, so the the important thing is to understand that if a classic, an important book, is not making a deep impact on you in the sense of causing some trouble and some problem, you are not reading correctly. Okay, here's the whole point. So the so I, for example, the Schenker. I started studying the Schenker at Mozarteum, and it was a bad time because I was so sharp in philosophy at that time that I didn't read any book that I felt that was totally wasting my time, in the sense of not showing the fundaments or the whole logic connection of conclusions, or something like this, where do you get this idea from? Okay, where do you get this idea from? Where do you get the Urlinie from? Schenker. Okay, so I asked him, and until today I am not convinced with his premise. Perhaps I was too radical with Schenker, and then I stopped going in depth with Schenker. Perhaps I lost some important elements, but then I jumped. I got very important concepts of Schenker. So he's a contrapuntist, and I remember very well when he says that one of the most important arts a composer can learn is the retention. So I got something out of it. Okay, and this explains that I have a clear criteria. So are you make me lose time or not? So are you help me with this problem or not? And with this mindset, I find almost impossible to be so fast with so many books. Okay, and principally in music theory. So so many people, when they say I read this book or that, yes, you read, but you didn't do the exercise. I will not say that you should do all the exercise of Schoenberg, for example, in order to understand some core ideas of his harmony later. So this is also a point of discussion. However, this is the truth. When people say that they read books in music theory, actually this means another thing. So this is why I don't give so many importance for this aspect. The whole point is if you are is how this book is integrated in an actual pedagogical praxis. Okay, and in which pedagogical framework, and this pedagogical framework needs a philosophy, and if it doesn't have, you are probably wasting time with fluff. Okay, so just because it feels good. So many people, they focus on the galant schemata just because it feels good. Actually they have nothing to do with galant music. Okay, so it is like just one small moment in music history that someone explains in a nice way, and then this gets suddenly popularized in this planet of music theoretical ignorance in America, because as we know, the school of analytic philosophy there is very hard, and they created a very cold approach to music theory, a very abstract, very analytic, approach to music theory, so like the pitch set class approach and things like this. Also the Schenker. And then, of course, people started to hate music theory because they want to compose for movies. They want the praxis, okay? And then they started to prefer the nothing than something. This is the problem. And the real something was actually here in German in Austria. So here is where the connection between practice and theory is way better integrated. And of course, the organists or the important figures in this element. So the real test. So the music theory in Austrian and in German was always tested on fire, and this fire was the liturgic service. Okay, the demands of the liturgic service was the fatal test if some theory is just fluff or it is actually working. And then this is where I base more or less my framework. Now, with music theory, so a book should be a classic, should be a game changer. So if you don't have this feeling that something is changing and it is triggering you to some interesting philosophical question about how you approach your learning in developing musical composition, then there is something wrong with the way that you read and you consume intellectual content. And here's the most important thing of this video. A more interesting example here, back to the philosophy, is that, for example, a book like Sickness to Death, so I don't know if this is the translation of Kierkegaard, Verzweiflung, or the concept of angst. So here's what I have a publication about. So a book like this, when I read, so it was like a huge crisis and chaos in the way that I think about things that started because I started to read this book. Okay. And then I stayed there for a while. It sucks. It suck you. So it it eats you. So it's what I want to say. So it eats your head. It's not you that your head that eat the book, but it's the book that eats your head, because it is a deep, a concentrated amount of chemical substance. Okay, this chemical substance, they are the thoughts generated by hours and hours of life experience of a deep thinker. Okay, so along this book, so I can't just go through the book. I read fast, but I had to come back, and then for this reason I wonder how would this not be the case? How to just read and don't yet jump to the next book? You get the point? So actually, Kierkegaard, I jumped more through the books because Kierkegaard, you need one book to understand the other, and one book of the Kierkegaard will be center also of the reflections of the course. Because it starts music. It is absolutely not mentioned anywhere, and because I'm an asshole, I won't even tell which is. So because if I tell tomorrow there is the, I don't know, the Adam Neely will do a viral video about the thing that I want to develop and explain with care in the spirit of formulating a problem, a discussion. I discuss with the students and we analyze problems. It's a different environment than just throwing the information in a beautiful video where the guy reads the script and looks intelligent because of this. Very different. So a book like this one of Kierkegaard so had a huge impact on me, and so it made me read slowly. But as I said, I jump into other books of Kierkegaard because they need to be understood in context. So each book will actually need the other one. And what I want to say that along this, it caused me a huge necessity to exteriorize this. And then here's the point that I also would like to highlight. So I don't understand the people who read so many amazing things and they don't want to exteriorize. Perhaps it's a question of personality. But beyond the issue of personality, I think that from the intellectual point of view, this shows an indicator that the person is not observing the faults and problems and ideas there in the sense of really real things, really things connected to reality, as things that really move and affect reality. Okay, it's like it is a time, how it's called, like a free time thing. I have my work, my daily job, and then I have my free time reading this marvelous, deep, mega negative masterpiece called The Concept of Anxiety, for example, of Kierkegaard. So they don't connect things, because when you connect, it's I would say it's almost impossible to not have some type of struggle. Okay, this leads to another thing that's also important to mention here. So I don't think philosophy is for everyone, even the philosophy of music. Okay, because you need to be ready for philosophy, and you need to be strong. You need to be psychologically strong. Okay, so you need to be ready for the transformation. Okay. Because perhaps you start doing your annoying Hans Zimmer ostinato, and then you end concluding that actually you want to make a progressive rock band like Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I don't know. It's totally contrary. With the broken rhythms and an insane, exaggerated amount of sus chords. So on. It's like a Hindemith with LSD. I don't know, it might happen, okay? Or you might want to understand better the classical tradition, where the classic tradition stopped, okay? And this is my main question. So where did the classical tradition, the true erudite tradition, stopped, and how to develop it? And these are not interesting problems. They are not comfortable problems. They are interesting problems. They are not comfortable problems to have. if I would do a joke with the Jordan Peterson, it's really not. It's not comfortable. It's not cool. Okay, so it's not cool. It's very interesting, but it's how I say, it's not comfortable, but it's actually very interesting. Let's say like this. Actually, many of the thoughts in these books, they are truly amazing. So it's I don't it's like a problem to read them in today's world. It's a problem to know them in today's world, because you want to speak about this, and you will find a huge gap between what is going on in this world and how some of the most influential thinkers and theorists actually are. So I did a thought experiment today, like relating Nietzsche to Hans Zimmer today, and then you see what a bomb that happens. So because some of the theories, they are actually radical. if I agree with Nietzsche or not. So this is also subject for our investigations. But Nietzsche had an amazing, powerful theory of aesthetic in the most surprising way. So it's outside of a system. So he has the system of the non-system, and it is really powerful. Okay. So C.G. Jung is auch really powerful, so because when you start to understand C.G. Jung, it's very hard to get away from it. And I took years to get away from C.G. Jung, understand the problems of C.G. Jung, and still a very amazing intellectual. So these things, they are not toys to play with. So I show here my admiration for some people there. I saw some YouTube channels. It looks like they are omniscient, and is that in this case where some people they have an easy way to go through everything, almost everything. They have the tendency to forget the problems. Okay. So it's like, do you know a child that is distracted by what is in front of them? So if Kant is in front of me, I'm distracted with Kant. If Tolkien is in front of me, I'm distracted with Tolkien. If Thomas Mann is in front of me, I'm distracted with Thomas. Do you get the point? It's always what is in the instant, actually. So even in the intellectual life, you can be very distracted by this seduction and superficiality of the instant. Now the problem is what will help you go through this whole chaos that is the tradition and the treasure of the human knowledge. And actually you just want the problem, you just want to understand a problem, and how some ideas and informations help to solve the problem, or to understand the problem, or to formulate the problem in a substantial way. This is one of the best, the most important ideas of the analytic philosophy, to know when a problem is truly a problem. Okay, nothing that Aristotle didn't analyze, but the analytic philosophy gave a lot of importance on the problem of pseudo problems. Okay, so what you want as a composer philosophizing about music is, first of all, to clean everything and understand which are the problems, and from there you should analyze your relationship to books and source of knowledge as a whole, and start to doubt yourself when you read a major work and it kinds of happen nothing. This is a major sign that you should work on your intellectual sensibility. This means perhaps you should read another crucial work, or watch a film, I don't know, that gives you what we call the hermeneutic key, to resensibilize yourself to those elements. Some people, they read Tolkien and they have what I call symbolic analphabetism. They have zero understanding of symbology and symbolic, and so this might be a problem to appreciate the work. And the most evident sign of this disease, this virus, you can see now I think in Harvard or somewhere in England, where they start to teach that Tolkien was as a racist, with the light dark thing, and this shows a complete ignorance of one of the most basic ABC elements of artistic symbolism. Okay, if you want to understand more about the reflections about symbolism in music, also just so some introductory thoughts to tease you. There is the video going live on my channel sometimes. Okay, so this is enough. So just a talk here about the universe of books in my course. So we have one part will be a systematic approach to all this. So to the let's say the composer's intellectual life. Okay, and if you don't understand the importance of all of this, you are also lost. So I have a short that I did about this that is going live, is going to be published soon, and it's also to show that is ridiculous that you also have to explain today the importance of philosophy for composers. But this is natural, so it helps me because it gives me more content to make that is not so hard to do. So that's all. So here what we see is the Biblioteca Joanina. So this is in Portugal, Coimbra. Fascinating place. I was there because I presented a work there, okay, in philosophy. So amazing place, amazing faculty of philosophy. So they're just 10 stars for them. My first impression. The coolest thing was how I see the German and the French tradition in the library equally present, and the Portuguese. So fascinating thing, and the Spanish. So fascinating universalist universe, different than what I had in Salzburg, where you should agree that it's very nationalist, it's very focused on German books. Of course, you find the French books, etc., but it's very German. And I was in France, then everything is French. So they had the German guys, but it looks like Portugal here. The faculty of Coimbra was a kind of more universalist, international spirit. This was my first impression that I got there. The place is really awesome, as you can see here, and I play at the organ there at the church next to this library. It was a very fascinating experience. So that's all. See you later, and consider joining us. More details you'll find on Patreon. On Patreon, you can always talk to me directly just via chat. And I see you soon.